It's our plan to have our athletic program comparable to USC, to Notre Dame, to Alabama, to anybody.
That was a bad clap. What's going on, Liberty fans, and welcome to another edition of the Sea of Red Football Podcast, sponsored by Jason Porter Real Estate. I'm Richie Longshots, joined with CT. Welcome back. Missed you last week.
Thank you. Missed you guys.
And the man, the myth, the legend, all things Liberty Athletics, founder, owner of the Sea of Red, John Manson. Gentlemen, I could say this with a little pizzazz, a little bit of action behind it. How are we feeling this Tuesday evening?
We're feeling like it's 2023, right?
Basically.
No, it was good. It was good to, as CT says there in his byline, we haven't lost in a month. We've won 3 straight. And more than that, just the way the team played, especially on offense, scoring 59 points, that's more than Liberty scored under Coach Chadwell, which is crazy. Had over 500 yards of offense. There's only 2 drives, except for the last one where we took a knee inside the 5. That doesn't count. There's only 2 drives all night that we didn't score points. And both of those 2 drives were kind of, we had drop passes. One that was would have been a third down conversion. Another one would have set up a 3rd and short. So a terrific night by the offense. And, we'll dive into it a little bit more, but definitely makes you feel a lot better. It doesn't take away the month of September, but makes you feel a lot better right now as we're sitting here, 1st of November.
Yeah, we're still alive in the conference, and our offense is looking better, and that's good things. It seems like we're on the right track, and take it week by week. We'll see what happens this next week, and we'll go on from there. But for now, we're feeling positive, and that's something that we couldn't say a month ago. So
yeah, an air of positivity coming out of homecoming. Always great to see the whole pomp and circumstance of all of that. Unfortunately, I don't think the playoff committee was watching Saturday. Liberty left out of the conference, not out of the conference playoffs, out of the playoff, CFP playoff, but that's okay. As CT said, we are live in the conference championship race. We'll absolutely talk all about that tonight. We'll talk about Delaware. We'll preview Missouri State for this Saturday. 1 o'clock kick. Should be interesting. Home again, correct?
Yeah, we got Missouri State at home. Last of 3 straight home games before we hit the road for 2 more. So another important game, obviously, in the conference race and even for bowl eligibility as well, too.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing one of the bowl. I got back from the gym a little bit ago. I didn't have time to change, but bowl bound 2023. So vibes are high. 1 more win for bowl eligibility or 2 more? 2 more.
We need 2 more.
2 more. 2 more with 4 to play. Not the place we thought we would be, but it's still a fighting chance to make some things happen this season. So as I mentioned before, excited. We're going to talk all about Delaware, talk all about Missouri State, but we're going to kick things off as we always do, jumping in, talking with Jason Porter, man up in the booth, and bringing in Mr. Austin Jenkins, who had a career day.
Jacob Jenkins.
Who's Austin's the other.
I think we should just pause and have a timeout. And the reason why you're not all the way locked in is you had some very exciting news. I don't know if you want to share that on the podcast, but you're a little distracted tonight, and that's okay. It's understandable. You're about to be a first-time father with, in the next, couple of weeks.
We do have a tight end on the roster whose name is Austin, or did.
Yes, you combined Austin Henderson and Jacob Jenkins. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's Jacob Jenkins that's going to be with us tonight.
Yes, and this is confirmed the last episode I will do in this room with the baby coming early next week. So end of an era in the podcast studio.
Yeah, we had a good run.
If I had time, I'd make a super clip of just the preposterous things I did, whether it was chugging Kool-Aid, celebrating the conference championship, celebrating the playoff, not the playoff berth, the New Year's Six ball, but end of an era. But we pivot, we move on. We'll see if I'm
Zeke,
live.
whenever you're listening to this, go ahead and when you hear that, go ahead and start working on that clip.
Yeah, work on that 4 years of Richie Longshot's highlights of the preposterous things that I've done, and probably won't do next week, because if I am able to be here live, it will be from a hospital in South Jersey. But it's a future me problem. But we're here, we're live in the moment, and we're going to hear all about our favorite Florida town, Leesburg.
It's real Florida. It's old Florida, and it's close to all of the Central Florida attractions. Crystal clear natural springs in one of the largest chain of lakes. The beautiful lakefront city of Leesburg offers the best in outdoor adventures, fishing, and quaint shops and restaurants on historic downtown Main Street. Come visit and see how welcoming a hometown city feels. Experience Leesburg the way Florida is meant to be.
As Richie mentioned, we are joined now by Jason Porter and what did he say? Austin Jenkins.
Austin Jenkins.
Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins is with us, and Mr. Jenkins had a huge night. One of many guys that had a really good night, but Jenkins had a career night Saturday against Delaware. Got in the end zone. Had 84 receiving yards, something like that. So good night from him. JP, I'll start with you. How are you doing tonight? I saw you over at basketball last night, and it's crossover season, so keeping us busy. But you got a nice play courtside with Mr. Aiden.
Yeah, crossover season is definitely here. It was a lot of fun last night watching the Flames come out of the gate with basketball. And like I told you before we went on the air, 21 years on the college sidelines, man, as an athletic trainer, you still have some of those quicknesses. I'm just glad the ball didn't hit me right in the nose. That would have been really embarrassing on TV.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, but we're here. We will talk basketball. Our basketball podcast will debut tomorrow night, Wednesday night. But we'll get to that more then. But for now, we're back on football. Jacob, take us back to Saturday. I know it was a lot of fun for you. Had that long catch and run. Just kind of go give us, a peek inside your head. What's it like for you as a tight end? I mean, you're out there for 50 some snaps or whatever it is every Saturday, and all except for maybe 2 or 3 of those you're typically blocking. So what's it like when you see the ball coming your way, and how exciting is it when you're able to make a play with the ball in your hands?
No, yeah, it's exciting. I always say in this offense, I said on this podcast, is that, as a tight end, you get the ball when you are willing to block your face off first. We were doing a lot of wide zone that night out of that look where I caught the long one, the first one. And we were able to give the same look to make them think wide zone's coming, and then I'm able to slip out the backside. So stuff like that, I think, is there's a shout out to Willie Korn and his play design too. But it's a good feeling. That ball looks like it's in the air pretty long, but it's a good feeling when you come down with it and you get to turn and run and get some yards. But it's just try and play and focus on one play at a time kind of thing for me. But yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, the good news is, even though that pass came over the middle, JJ, you didn't take the Travis Kelce kind of shot there, so we're all thankful for that. But man, so many things offensively, bro. We're just clicking. I mean, you guys were rolling 59 points up on the board. I think the thing that kind of jumped out to me, and I'd love to hear your take on this. You talked about the blocking and everything, but I think the thing that we really saw, the offensive line just dominated the trenches, it looked like, and a lot of those edge blocks that you're talking about right there just freed Dickens to put up his 217 yards. Did you guys see something that allowed that to kind of jump off the page in film, or did you just kind of feel that dominance early on, and just since it wasn't broke, you just kind of kept taking advantage of that?
Yeah, I think, you kind of tell with formations what we can get in to kind of keep them to a certain picture. And I think we were able to get them in the certain pictures that we liked to certain plays. Like we ran a lot of trap and we ran a lot of wide zone. And I think that was able to help us focus and utilize that with knowing where they were going to be in. And they didn't really change much, whether that's they just didn't have the check for it and wanted, or they thought they could change something else. But we found success in it, and it was kind of just ride the hot hand at that point. Evan's a heck of a ball player, if y'all hadn't noticed, and so it was good to just get him in the space, and we thought we had a good numbers game in the run game with the stuff we had in, and so it was kind of don't fix it if it ain't broke. So it was exciting. It felt like the offense and the O-line especially, it all clicked on Saturday, and so the challenge is to do it again this week.
Talking with Liberty tight end Jacob Jenkins. And this portion of the episode of this podcast is sponsored by RT Rogers, as always, Liberty alum. And Jacob's going to tell us a little bit more about them. Mr. Jenkins, tell us a little bit more about RT Rogers. Where can we find them, and how can they help serve us?
Yeah, so for over 50 years, our family-owned and operated oil company has been powering homes, farms, and businesses in our community. Whether you need residential or commercial propane and heating oil, generators, or expert service, we've got you covered. We also offer top-quality commercial and agricultural fuel, tank, lubricants, and equipment, plus wholesale opportunities that help your business grow. Trust the experience and dedication that only a family business can deliver. Call us today and experience the difference. Thank
you. Yes, make sure you reach out to RT Rogers, great Liberty supporters and supporters of this podcast. So Jacob, obviously a big game, big performance for the offense and for the team as a whole. You guys have now won 3 straight, got 4 wins on the season, 3-1 in conference play. You got a big game against Missouri State coming up this weekend. Coach Chadwell was talking in his press conference earlier today about how they're probably the most physical team that we've played this season. What type of challenges, it's early in the week, but what type of challenges, have you seen so far from them? And when, Coach Chadwell, maybe some of the other coaching staff talks about the physicality that they play with as a tight end, kind of that extra offensive lineman on the field most of the time. Is that a little bit of a challenge to you guys up front to make sure you can be the more physical team, the more tough team?
Yeah, I mean, this team they're big. Like their DNs are 6'7", and they're bigger dudes, and they play really long, and they know how to use their size. So I think that's the challenge up front. And even their corners are about 6 foot, 6'1", tall, lanky dudes. So that's always a challenge when you're playing longer guys. And especially they're heavy too. So it is a challenge, but it's also just comes down to you got to win the trenches. That's part of it. And no matter the size of anyone, you got to win it. O-line and the tight ends and all of us as an offense collectively, we know it's going to be a physical game, and I think preparing it throughout the week, expecting that to be a physical game and practicing physical to prepare you for the game, I think is important, and I think we're doing that well. But it's also a numbers game and scheme thing, just like it was last week. So it's how can we get them in certain looks that we like, and utilize that, whether that's triple option or just outside zone or whatever. So, it's exciting to game plan so differently too every week. So, it's fun and it'll be a good challenge.
Jacob, those of us that, watch the games and study the games and pay attention to it and stuff like that, you've seen the ebbs and flows here of the offense a little bit this season. But 59 points last week, 30 points the week before that against New Mexico State. A lot of us just kind of kept feeling like there were just a few little nuances, a few little things that needed to be tweaked, and all of a sudden Katie barred the door, right? Just everything was going to start flowing together. Have you guys sensed that, or are we just way off our rocker and analyzing it too much?
No, I mean, we knew that our offense wasn't performing to the potential we wanted it to, and we expected more of our offense. And, it was a few little tweaks, and just also, it's hard now because you don't know your roster till fall camp. So, you're still putting puzzle pieces together, and that's why you see a team like Notre Dame last year lose a game early and then wouldn't go to national championship. Same with what Alabama's doing. They lost Florida State, and now they're we just took a little longer, I think, to put those pieces and everyone's roll together. But, I think we're in a good spot, and our offense finally knows what we're capable of, and we've seen it. And I think our determination and just sticking to the process of all that is something that you could tell the past 2 weeks. We're putting points on the board. So we're excited, and we also recognize that it's a challenge to do it again, and that last week means nothing this week. So
awesome. Good stuff. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you guys out there on Saturday, and hope you get over the 100-yard receiving mark this weekend. How about that?
yeah, there you go. I wouldn't mind that.
All right. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Y'all have a good one. See ya.
Thanks, Jacob.
Well, that's fun. It's always fun talking to Jacob, and especially coming off a big night. I was sitting there in the press box Saturday when he was making those catches. I was like, I'd be making it a little bit more fun to talk to him Tuesday night, knowing he was up this week. So, JP, play a little hypothetical with you. Let's assume that I was in the market for a property, and I'm scrolling on my phone, and something pops up, which they do on occasion, and see a property that I may be interested in or thinking about. What do I have to do? Do I just give you a call? Do I have to sign some agreement with you first, or what are my next steps if I see a property I'm interested in?
Yeah, that's a super question, John, because it feels like a little bit of real estate 101, but it's important that everyone out there kind of knows, because there has actually been a legislation and a law change out there. So while you can always just call the number on the listing kind of thing, I would really encourage folks to have that relationship with a realtor that can open the door for them and sort of have that rapport already. But the one thing that people need to be aware of, if it's been 2 or 3 or longer years since they've seen property, the one thing they need to be aware of is that there are actually buyer's agreements now that you would have to sign. So if the Manson family wanted to come out and take a look at a property, even if it's just one property with me, you guys would need to sign something that says that I represent you in the deal. A lot of people push back on that. They don't like the paperwork. They don't like to be locked into a deal, which I completely understand. But I want to tell everyone one caveat on that. And that is the fact that if you're not sure about me and you're kind of anxious about that, you can literally sign that document for one property, just for 123 Main Street. Our agreement is just for that particular house, and then after that, there's no strings attached. So the buyers definitely have rights, if you will, but that is a change, a big paperwork change, if it's been a little while since some folks have looked at property. As always, interested to talk to anybody who would have any questions about that. Contact information is there at the screen. Would love to be of service.
That is something a little bit different and something I didn't know. So I learned something tonight. Appreciate that information. And if that's you, if you're interested in looking at a property in or around Lynchburg or even the greater Virginia area, and reach out to our guy JP here, jasonporterrealestate@gmail.com. If he can't help you, he'll find somebody who can. JP, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, John. Have a good night. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full-time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
Always great to kick off our show with that insight from the locker room, from the booth. It's even better when player scores a touchdown and has a career game. But the debate we had last week, we kind of talked about rest versus rust, and what's this going to look like? You don't often see a 17-day break in between games, but with midweek games and bye weeks and all that, and what a great game. Coaching staff had the players ready. Final score, and we pulled up exactly 59-30. We alluded to it earlier. Most points scored in the Chadwell era. Trying to think when we scored 59 in a FBS game.
It was against UMass.
I was saying it was a UMass game,
Yeah.
right?
It's always UMass.
Yeah, it always circles back somehow to UMass. Who's playing right now? Because it is Maction season. But 561 yards, 1 penalty, 6 of 10 on third down. And it's crazy, and I didn't realize this until I just saw it. Time of possession was pretty much split down the middle. So for Liberty to put up those numbers, normally when you see a 59 points scored, you're thinking you're going to be in that 40 minutes of possession. But just a complete game, top to bottom. Special teams, defense making plays, offense, really showing up and having that night. So great to see. Great coming off that bye, like I said. But yeah, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, it really was, and to score that many points. And it was all the offense. There was no defensive scores, no special team scores, really no short fields, except for the one time when they did the fake punt that didn't work out. But
that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was. I don't know why you did that against a team that was only scoring 19 points a game coming in, but that's we're not here to sit here and criticize the Delaware coaching staff, are we? But no, I mean, and I said in the podcast last week is like, after that 17-day break is like we really needed to see who this team was. Like, because if you have that much time, like you were talking about, Richie, it's either rest or rust. And fortunately for us, it was rest. And the coaching staff was able to do a more of a deep dive into, Coach Chow talked about it some today, is like they're able to do more of a deep dive into where they were having success, where they were struggling, even to the point where how many snaps in a row could an offensive lineman play before they started having mistakes. That's something he alluded to. And so they got really deep into the weeds of trying to figure out what has not been working and what has been working. And it all worked on Saturday. So you love to see that. I tweeted this out some Saturday night or Sunday or whenever it was about how, having that massive of a turnaround from one game or the first half of the season to the next game with 17 days off, you can only credit it to the coaching staff. Again, this is a team that we were playing in Delaware that, Liberty was only 3.5-point favorite. So going in, it was a toss-up game. I truly believed it was a toss-up game. And we never really felt threatened much at all. And you have to give credit where credit's due. And I think it starts with the coaching staff this week.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like going back to that rest versus rust thing, like, to be honest, like, it was tough to get much more rusty than we looked before that break. I mean, Well, granted, we had started progressing in midweek games, but just before that. So, like, at least to me, my thinking, even though we started improving, like, it was like, hey, this rest is more likely than not going to help us rather than hurt us. It wasn't like we're riding a ton of momentum or anything like that. And I feel like that's when rest could maybe start causing problems. But it really was exciting to see the offense. And I think as well, for me, watching some of the game, like, I feel like just seeing Vasco's decision making, I feel like there was a confidence there that we hadn't really seen before. And I think that was really big. We saw that there was no turnovers. Honestly, it was the best since the main game, and that was an FCS game. So, I mean, look at his completion percentage. Like, that was 60% plus. Like, I was really happy to see how he looked during the game.
Yeah, and now with him probably 100% healthy now, can that momentum continue? But absolutely something that we can go, all right, this looked like the Liberty team that we kind of thought we would see in September, utilizing different offensive weapons. We've said it before. Shout out Evan Dickens. Just every time he got the ball was just he has a shot to. Is he going to do something magical? And pull it up real quick. What is
He had 217 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Oh,
I mean, just insane. And he looked. I mean, he's been good. He's shown flashes throughout the first, 6, 7 games. 6, 7. Sorry, but my kids would enjoy that joke.
Yeah.
But and I'm sure Richie knows it too because working with kids all the time. But
yeah,
anyway.
just remember, guys, it's not for us. I see a lot of adults online getting angry. It's like the meme's not for us. The joke isn't for us. I'm sure, plenty of jokes that we made as kids and adults were like, this is so stupid. This doesn't make any sense. The joke's not for us. So anyone that's getting angry, I'm sure there's someone out there like, I can't believe. Get over it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. But no, I mean, he was really good. Dickens, like there was a few times he made certain cuts or moves, made defenders miss. My jaw just dropped. Like, oh my goodness! I mean, we hadn't seen something like that. And literally, that was the most rushing yards a Liberty player had since Rashad Jennings. Like, think about some of the running backs we've had in the last 16, 17 years since Rashad was on the mountain. A Quentin Cooley, Des Rice, DJ Abner. I mean, who else? Day. I mean, you can just go on and on about all the running backs we've had, but it was him. And the thing about Dickens is he's young. Like, you keep him locked up here, and again, transfer portal, NIL, you never know, but you keep him locked up, you could, be set at running back for the foreseeable future.
I feel like locked up is kind of crazy. I feel like locked in, but regardless, no, I'm just messing with you there. One thing that actually, what was that?
Wrong preposition. Locked in.
Yeah, it works out. We got tagged in something, the podcast account, and it was from Real Analytics. Shout out to them, 21,000 followers, so they're at least somewhat legit. And it was top 10 fastest college football players of Week 10. Number 1, Evan Dickens. So, 21.4 miles an hour. So there you go. Shout out Evan Dickens.
He was also the highest rated running back on PFF for the week. P4 doesn't matter. Highest rated running back for the week. And again, you have 4 touchdowns and 200 yards.
9.9 yards a carry. Like, it's not like we ran him 40 times. It's not like Derrick Henry in high school. Like, he ran everything, averages, and just a complete game. And we've said, with that running back room, TBA, hey, who's got the hot hand? And obviously, you ride that Dickens train as long as you can. But it is good knowing that you had that Vaughn Blue. You still have Caden Williams. Like, there's going to be games where, hey, maybe Vaughn Blue next week is the guy that runs for 150 yards. So it is like right, like a little thing. We're finally thriving. We were surviving for a little bit. We were treading water.
Barely surviving, treading water. Yeah. But no, it's and it's funny. I wanted to touch on something. Jacob Jenkins mentioned it. Talked about how sometimes when you got so many new faces, it takes a little while to figure out all the right pieces and where they thrive and where they don't. And you heard Coach McKay said in his post game last night is like he's still trying to figure out his team. So, and the difference between football and basketball and Division I college athletics is like football, you have no time to learn things. Like you lose one game, you lose 2 games, it can completely derail your season. I mean, we're still trying to dig out of a hole from a week 2 loss that we suffered at Jack State. Whereas if we play Jack State today, I don't know. I mean, they would still beat us. I don't know, but and hopefully we'll get another shot at them in a conference championship game here in a few weeks. But who's to say we wouldn't win that game if we played them now? Whereas with men's basketball, like if they have a couple losses this weekend, hopefully they don't. It doesn't really change their season. They get a little time to kind of play with things. Hopefully, and again, this is another conversation for the off season. Hopefully, they're going to that one transfer portal in January and not one again in the spring. So hopefully you'll have your team together in the spring and you can kind of ramp up and it'll reduce some of that. But, it's really difficult. And unfortunately, we dug ourselves a hole, and injuries had something to do with it. Another thing, and not to keep blabbering, but keep getting reminded of things, but penalties, like you mentioned it earlier, Richie, only had one penalty. That was on a kick-catch interference, which really wasn't the defender's fault. It was a short punt and kind of got blocked into it a little bit. It's a 50-50 type thing. It happens. But we're second in Conference USA in fewest penalties this season. So that's something that Coach Chow and his staff kind of got, criticized about fairly, I think, last year, and really in 2023 as well too. Just the penalties that racked up, but they obviously put an emphasis on that, and it's turned in the right direction this year. So kudos to the staff in that area as well too.
Yeah, John, that's a really interesting point that you bring up, just about, again, not really having that margin for error just because of the length of the football schedule and different things like that. And I don't want to open up an entirely different can of worms with what I'm about to say. But I feel like it's something that, with a goal of winning a conference championship, like in theory, us being able to learn our team for a few weeks and then be able to build up to that is very attainable. Of course, we had the Jack State game like week 2. That's not too typical for conference games for the most part. Like most years, that's probably not going to happen. So, building up through out of conference, like I'm fine with that. But if we do want to have the goals that we all would probably say that most years should be the goals of this program, going farther than that, we don't really have that margin for error to have a build-up month. And that's partially due to just the way our out of conference schedule is. And that's what I mean by the other can of worms and stuff. But like, it's not like we're like a Notre Dame or something like that, where they can have 2 early losses and they're fine. They're going to win out and they're still in the college football playoff. Like, we don't have that margin. So it's something, if I'm fine with that, I'm fine with us being able to build up. But at the same time, like if we truly want to reach some of those goals, like we got to be in sync midsummer. So
agreed. Good point.
Yeah. And I think we'd rather be trending upwards in November
by all means.
Down,
yeah.
Cliche as it is. And we've seen outside of 2023, we've seen a lot of Liberty teams start to trend down towards this November time of year, take out 2020 as well. But good to see that we're moving in the right direction. I think we can all agree with that.
And maybe a nice segue for us into our next segment, Richie.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Is I think one of the main reasons why we did struggle or fade late in the season is you're playing as an FBS independent, and what do you have to play for? Like you go and play UConn in mid-November, like who cares? That game doesn't matter. Whereas now, you're playing for a conference championship.
Yeah.
You also, the other thing I'll very briefly say is that there may have been at times under previous coaching staffs, it struggles at the end of the season because maybe there's talks going on with other schools. Who knows? I think people may have forgotten that they felt that way sometimes, but that could have been a thing that was happening too. I'll just say that.
Yeah. And at this point, before we jump into looking at Conference USA, we'll just address the elephant in the room. I have no ill will towards Hugh Freeze, but his time at Auburn has come to an end. Probably not the tenure that Auburn or Hugh Freeze had expected, but that is a very difficult place to win for a variety of reasons. It is a very interesting fan base with a lot of interesting boosters, and it takes a very special person to win there in general, let alone win in this era of college football. I am not someone that bashes Hugh Freeze. I'm not someone that praises him, that he is the greatest coach in history, but it's a tough situation. He's getting paid a lot of money, but he invested a lot of time, and it's tough situation. So hope health wise as well that he's doing okay. But yeah, that's the elephant in the room, and here's us acknowledging it that him and his family are doing well. Conference USA talk now. There's a lot of pretty, I don't think I thought that we'd be sitting there with 4 teams making a run at this point in the season with the records that they do. So
Yeah.
kind of a pleasant surprise. A rising tide lifts all ships. Conference USA is not the laughing stock of college football this year, which is always a good thing. I'll take that. But we're still on the outside looking in. Need some things to help us out. Nothing helped us out over this past weekend, but this is a new weekend. Pretty chalky last weekend when I look at kind of everything. Shout out Kennesaw State, bowl eligible for the first time ever. I remember when we were bowl eligible for the first time, and that was just amazing. One of those, watching other games and are more teams going to get to 6 wins or really let that, and it all worked out. And I remember that, and it's good for them. I would love for them to start losing a couple games now, but there's that. So what are the games this week? What are we looking? What are we rooting for? What are we rooting against?
Yeah, so just a quick recap on the standings. Kennesaw and Jack State are 4-0. Western Kentucky is 5-1. Liberty and Missouri State, who's ineligible for the conference championship. But they're coming into Lynchburg this week.
Oh yeah,
saying, hey, we can still get that regular season title. But both at 3-1, Liberty and Missouri State. So this week you got Kennesaw is at New Mexico State. Jack State is at UTEP. Western Kentucky's off this week. So those are the two that play, and then obviously Liberty and Missouri State play each other, which I have abbreviated in the show doc, MISSST. I almost said Mississippi State. It's not Mississippi State, it's Missouri State. But yeah, so Kennesaw is at New Mexico State. Jack State is at UTEP. I would expect both of those teams to win, you would think, but UTEP is actually a favorite at home. One thing about Jack State is if you look at their scores, home to road, they're a much better team at home. They've had a couple losses non-conference or away from home, not against very good teams either. And then their wins away from home in Conference USA have been, by a field goal. They won at Middle Tennessee last week by 3 points. They needed a field goal at winless Sam Houston, a 50-plus yard field goal the last play of the game to get a win. So hopefully, we want Jack State to lose. We need them to lose multiple games because they would have the head-to-head tiebreaker with us since we lost to them. So we're getting late in the season. There's only 4 conference games left for each of these teams. So if they could lose at UTEP, that would be nice. Come on, Scotty Walden, pull it out for us.
Yeah,
help us out.
I feel like it's either with Jack State, either they start losing in a hurry or they just keep winning. It's one of the, because if they keep winning, then we're fine as well. Because they would beat Western Kentucky, give them their second loss. We'd beat Kennesaw, or they would beat Kennesaw, we'd beat Kennesaw. That would knock Kennesaw out. So we'd be good if that's the case. If Jack State wins out. But if they start losing, then they need to lose multiple games. Otherwise, we get into, as we've been trying to crunch some math in the background in the past few days, if they start losing, we need them to lose a couple games. Otherwise, we start getting into some weird, funky tiebreakers that could hurt us potentially.
Yeah, we have a math guy who's a friend of the program who crunches numbers for us and gives us some percentages. But it's fluid. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Especially with 4 weeks left to play. I mean, there's a lot of football.
Yeah.
I think the big wrench and what we were all expecting as we were looking at things in the past couple of weeks is Kennesaw still being here. I feel like we saw where Jack State was at. We saw where Western Kentucky was at, and we're like, oh, they play each other. That's great. That's going to be a loss for one of them. And we're like, we're pretty close to controlling our own destiny in a way. But Kennesaw still being around and undefeated really just continues to throw a wrench in that a bit. And like you said, shout out to them. It's really, really impressive to see what they've been doing.
Yeah, it is impressive, but they've also got a tough stretch, coming down.
It's true as well.
I talked about it at New Mexico State. Then they play at Jack State, which obviously is a huge game. That the game just got flexed, I think, to ESPNU. And then after that, they play Missouri State and Liberty. So they still got to play all the teams up at the top of the standings. And then Jack State's also got Western Kentucky as well too. So it'll be interesting. 4 teams still alive with 4 weeks left to play. And I don't think there's any one team that you look at and say they're clearly the best team. Like I feel like just about any one of those 4, if they ended up winning the conference, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, we want Jacksonville State to win out. If Jacksonville State wins out and we win out, we have 1 loss. They have no losses. Everyone else has 2. We're going to Alabama.
That's correct. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's the clearest path. The other path would be that we would have to win out, and we need Jack State to lose twice, and one of those has to be like the Western Kentucky. There's other paths.
And ideally, the other is not to Kennesaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's other paths, but it gets complicated, and you start talking about some weird tiebreaker, which if it was a head-to-head tiebreaker between Liberty and Western Kentucky, it likely comes down to an average computer model rankings of 4 different computer rankings, which we crunched all the numbers this week, like CT was alluding to. We are significantly behind Western Kentucky right now in that math. Now, granted, our schedule in the last 4 games is tougher than Western Kentucky's, other than they play LSU. So as long as they lose to LSU, it won't help them too much. So we will probably make some ground up, but probably not enough. So we do not want to be in a 1-to-1 head-to-head tie with Western Kentucky. But yeah, the simplest path is what you said, Richie. Jack State went out, Liberty wins out. It's the 2 of us in Alabama in early December.
Hey, I will take that. If you would have said the end of September after JMU, after Old Dominion, that, hey, we'd still be playing the conference championship game, I would say, certainly, sign me up. But we got to take care of business. The other thing,
Richie, let me jump in real quick. The other thing I was just going to say, related to out of conference, but just that I was observing as I was looking at things for tonight, that Bowling Green loss is, I feel like, just looking at it now, the most frustrating loss to me. They're 1-4 in the MAC right now. They lost to Kent State.
Fired their offensive coordinator.
Yeah. So that's the one loss that it's like, I really wish we could have had that back again. It doesn't affect the conference standings, but that's the one that's just like, oh, that's an ugly loss.
When weird tiebreakers come into play, all of those games become a factor. But before we can get into that, again, week by week, it's a fluid situation. We got to take care of business this Saturday against not Mississippi State. However, I would take Mississippi State. That coach, that's a handsome fella right there. I'm just going to say that. That is Chadwell's handsome as well. This is a battle between some well put together coaches.
So it's an interesting story. Ryan Beard is who you're talking about, Missouri State's head coach. He's in his 3rd year there. He is the son-in-law of Bobby Petrino, which Bobby Petrino was the previous head coach of Missouri State, and he's now the interim head coach at he's back at Arkansas, right? Where he was previously, but he was a head coach at Missouri State prior. Ryan Beard took over. He's his son-in-law. Petrino's son is the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator, I kid you not, I'm not making this stuff up. The defensive coordinator of Missouri State is also Petrino's son-in-law. So I'm not making that up. It's true. Yeah.
Shout out to whatever's in the water in Springfield, Missouri.
I can make so many Bobby Petrino jokes, but I'm not going to do that. It's just an all-time college football photo. And him in a neck brace, and I'm going to leave it at that because we're not playing Bobby Petrino. We are not playing Arkansas, although we are coming up on the anniversary of beating Arkansas.
Great memory.
Great memory. So Missouri State 5-3, their first year in Conference USA, as we've said a couple times, they are ineligible, but they are having a good first year. I've said it before here that them in Delaware, I think, have exceeded expectations of teams coming in to stepping up to the big time and kind of having a little bit of success and surprising people. But right now, Liberty, 7.5-point favorites against Missouri State this weekend. 1 o'clock kick. I hate 1 o'clock kicks. 51.5 is the over/under. Liberty minus 310. So I think this game bodes well for us based off of kind of what we saw last week. But gentlemen, what do we think?
Yeah, so like you said, Missouri State first year moving up from the FCS ranks, and they've had some success. 5-3 and 3-1 in conference play. They've won 3 straight, just like Liberty has. Their only loss in conference was a very close one, 27-22 to Western Kentucky. One thing about Missouri State too is they're a veteran team. They played in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, which is by far the best football conference in the FCS. They only had 2 losses in conference play last year, and that was to North Dakota State and South Dakota State, who very well could have beaten us last year. I mean, those are teams. North Dakota State went on to win the FCS National Championship, and South Dakota State lost to North Dakota State in the semifinals. So very good teams. And those were Missouri State's only 2 losses. The Missouri Valley, not to get too deep into the weeds on that league, but they've won 12 of the last 4 FCS national championships. So it's not an exaggeration when saying that's the best league in the FCS. So they're well tested. It's a physical brand of football. Missouri Valley is kind of similar to it's like the FCS version of the Big Ten, where you got a lot of big uglies that you just like to pound the football up in between the tackles and hit you. And Coach Chadwell talked about this being the most physical team we probably played all season. So if you look at the stats, like I think they kind of look similar in a lot of the stats to that of Delaware, but not quite as good of a passing team and some of the other things. Now, that doesn't mean they're not as good of a team. They've certainly as good, if not better, than Delaware. But it'll be a nice challenge for us. Their quarterback Jacob Clark is in his 7th year playing college football, so he's a veteran. Obviously, he started at Minnesota and he's been at Missouri State now the last 3 seasons. Has thrown for 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So, that's kind of a quick glance at the Bears.
Yeah, just looking 38th in the nation in passing yards. Again, we're coming off the Delaware where that was their bread and butter. And, yeah, they made some plays. They put up some yards, but we're able to control it, manage it. Some of their points did come kind of when that was we're probably in a prevent defense type situation with the lead that we had. But I do think it does bode well for Liberty. They are 53rd in the nation in rushing defense allowed. But after last week, we're I forget where we were last week, but 52nd in the nation in rushing yards. So I do like the matchup, but you can't take any game for granted. You can't just say, hey, we're going to roll this game. 7.5 points is still right around that touchdown point spread where college football crazy things happen. And, I trust this coaching staff just won't go, hey, all right, we can just ride what we did last week against Delaware, but rather build on that momentum and go, hey, we're playing a similar team. I don't think they're as good as Delaware. I don't want to eat my words, but I think it does bode well for us with where we're at right now.
Yeah, I feel like just looking at their schedule, like it's a weird team. Like they've lost the games that you'd think they lose, but they've won games that maybe we thought they wouldn't win, just like with our expectations going into them, like in their first season in FBS. But at the same time, like they're not great wins either. Like Marshall is not a good team this year. Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, FIU, like some of the bottom feeders of Conference USA. So it's a weird thing where it's like, yeah, like some stats look good, records decent and stuff, but it's really who knows what they actually are. And so on the flip side of that, who knows what they are? And we really should be prepared as you said. And going back to previous conversations, like there literally is no margin for error. And I do think this coaching staff knows that. I do think the players know that. And I think it's a positive pressure right now that they're able to, use the cliche of like burn the ships and stuff like that. Like we can't look back, like this is our last chance kind of thing. So I'm excited based on what we saw last week, and gives me hope that we have the right mentality to keep on winning these games and not taking a week off or for granted.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you can prove that last week against Delaware was not a fluke, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You come out
Mm-hmm.
and win this comfortably. You prove that, hey, we're legit now. We're to be a legit threat to get back into that conference championship picture and to be considered for it as well too. So another factor too is like you said, obviously in a conference championship race, you can't lose. Your margin for error is -1, right? I mean, you can't lose. Your back's against the wall. You have to win out. But also, for bowl hopes, right? Like we have to win 2 of our last 4. And if you don't win this game, it might be difficult to win 2 out of your last 3, looking at the schedule. Because, you're at home against a first-year FCS or first-year FBS program. Again, they're a solid team, but this is a game you got to get, especially with the early hole we dug ourselves back in September.
Also, one just stat thing I'm going to throw in here. John, you disrespected Jacob Clark a little bit by saying it's his 7th year, which it is. This is his 5th year playing. So between a COVID year and 1 redshirt year, it adds up. But yes, he's been in college football for a long time. And if you look at his photo, it's like, oh, this guy should be in like a finance department somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
he should be on LinkedIn, not playing college football.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
We won't see that much longer. I don't think. With the new rules and the new ways, everything is going. But any last words for Missouri State before we hear from our fans? All right, we'll let the play do the talking on Saturday. Before we jump into our fan comments, I just want to say everyone's a lot louder when Liberty isn't winning. The negative Nancy's love to pull out their megaphones, and I get it. Everyone can say what they want. But there's a lot less comments. We've said it before. We put out a tweet after the game. Give us your thoughts. We lose a game, there's like 45 tweets. People are arguing with each other. Chaos. Shout out Sandvik, friend of the program. Always on a plane. Like he's always like, I'm on a plane listening to the podcast. He'll text me oh, just landed. Watch the podcast. Love that for you. Great way to pass some time. Be safe also on that plane.
I'm going to make myself sound like an idiot. I was like, what mountain is 32,000 feet that he could be watching this?
Kilimanjaro, I don't know. Yeah. If anyone is ever climbing a mountain watching the podcast, we'll send you a t-shirt. I'll put that out there. Yeah. Lot less comments when we win, but I get it. I'm not here to judge, but what do you got for us this week, CT?
Yeah, we'll jump in one in the live comments. John, there's one asking about injuries. Do we have injuries? Do you want to, I feel like you're the expert there if you want to drop in on that.
Yeah, the main thing is Brylan Green was back on the field this past week, which is good to see. Nothing really new. Juju Gray is one to watch. He played last week. Coach Chadwell said after the game he was really more of a decoy than part of the game plan, so that's unfortunate. At practice today, he was not participating. He was on the sidelines, had his right foot in a boot, also had crutches. So I don't know. Hopefully, I think it's an ankle for him. Hopefully he'll be able to give it a go Saturday, but I wouldn't expect him to be the main part of the plan. And then also just recap from last week, Joe Carter is out for the season, which that's obviously a big loss at linebacker. So really the only one I think we're really thinking about from last week would be Juju.
Awesome. Thank you, John. First one I'll get into is from a fan of the show, Julie. She said, any thoughts on the poor fan, especially student showing, especially since it was homecoming?
The crowd, I guess, is the question.
Yeah.
Students don't care about homecoming. Does that make sense? Like homecoming's definitely more of an alumni thing. I got no excuse. Students have been great all year. I think you'll see an uptick this week coming off of a big win. Vibes probably a little more positive when it comes to that. But yeah, I was expecting more than 18,000, but it is what it is. The scenes looked great. The parade looked awesome. I heard our other friend of the program, Dennis Fields, was launching candy, the back of a truck. Just seemed like a great time had by all. Disappointed I couldn't be there.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing in the student turnout. There was about 2.5 sections that were empty on that side. I hate to criticize the students too much. They're typically amazing, and a lot of other fan bases would die to have our student support, but it happens. I mean, the home side looked really good, close to full. But yeah, a little disappointing in that. Hopefully it changes this week. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the momentum on campus died down after the JMU and then Old Dominion losses. Maybe they just don't have the momentum there to pull in those casual or more casual student fans. So it's a little disappointing. Yeah, I agree.
My guess, students are probably out canvassing, doing something political for the Virginia and New Jersey. Big. I've been getting, probably from when I lived in Virginia, I've been getting just crushed with New Jersey political text messages and Virginia political text messages. Like, I'm glad that this is over. So I'm going to chalk that up. There's your built-in excuse, students. No excuse this week. Phil, that what side is it? It's not the Baptist side. It's the
student side.
Student section. So hopefully that's the case for Saturday.
Awesome. Bailey Anderson said, honestly, super impressed by the turnaround of the team, especially after such a long break and a less than full attendance. Seemed to click on all sides, defensive, running the ball, and wide receiver. Vasco finally feels like he settled in. Hope it stays burning. So pretty positive there. And then David said, it's one game, but are we back?
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out Saturday. That's the big question. Like I said earlier, if we follow it up this week with another strong performance, then yeah, I think you can say we're back. But again, it doesn't. I want to echo what you said earlier, CT, is it doesn't take away what happened in September, right? I mean, the amount of resources we put into this program, like what happened then, is not acceptable, and it has to be fixed moving forward. But like I've also said earlier, is previously in another episode, is I believe Chadwell will figure it out. I think Chadwell and this staff has figured out the offense. Again, we'll learn if that's the truth this week and throughout the rest of the season. But I think he'll figure it out eventually, and hopefully he can do so next season.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of figuring it out, there's another live question in the comments talking about the wide receiver room and just like that getting figured out. And I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this one. I'll read it as well for our listeners who may not be watching. One thing I didn't understand earlier this year was why Smith and Mobley played too much at wide receiver. It should be Lee, Person, Kane, and Canyon.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dante Lee, one thing that I did like this past week is they targeted him early and often, which was nice to see. Seems like he has stepped into that role of being the go-to receiver, which is good. That's what we need. Kane, I haven't seen much out of him. He's been really inconsistent, I think, and Canyon's been hurt. Like, he can't stay healthy. Like, and he hurdled a player on the sideline. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Oh, yeah, that was electric.
This past week, it was electric, but I'm immediately thinking, he came in, made that one catch, and goes and hurdles a player. I'm like, he probably going to roll his ankle when he comes down and lands, and then miss the rest of the game. Like, poor guy can't stay healthy. But yeah, I think Lee is stepping into that role. I do think Person, we like to see him kind of become that second receiver. I think he should be, and he should be a good complement to Dante Lee.
Yeah, we had 9 people with a reception, so rotating room, but still
Love that.
Again, mentioned it earlier with Jacob Jenkins. Shout out me getting his name right. That still, hey, figuring out who's where to put people at the right times.
Yeah. I feel like we've answered this one for the most part already, but I'll just say it and see if you have any additional thoughts. And if not, just say pass or we can move on. CSG Flames said, where has this version of the team been all season?
Great question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's college. It's college football. It's not a scripted reality show.
And nobody could have expected what happened Saturday was going to happen. Like nobody could have expected we were going to score 59 points. We went a 4-game stretch where we didn't score 59 points. So nobody thought we would score that much in one game.
That's the beauty of college football.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, a couple last ones. This one's a little negative. Oh, perfect. Actually, live one. Worth calling out that the play calling of this last game allowed Vasco to throw situationally rather than being the focal point. I think that's great. And that rest, that 17 days, gives the time for adjustments. Yeah. And those real things. Like when you're going week by week without a bye, like, and we're trying to figure out how Vasco works, like you don't have much time to actually make huge adjustments to the game plan. You're really thinking just week by week, how do we make shifts to each team? So I feel like that 17 days really gave a big reset for that. Would you agree?
Yeah. And when your running backs average just under 7 yards a carry, it makes it very simple. That we've said it. I'm not going to use the term game manager, but when he's able to just go in, hey, make this play, boom, there you go. It's definitely the way I think the offense is focused, where it's, hey, run the ball, and then when we do have to make the throws, that he's in the situation to succeed. But that's what good coaches do. They adjust their game plan to the players that they have, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's good. Going to Jordan Nepper on Twitter. This one's a bit more negative, I'd say. Not bad, but a bit more negative. Why did the defense hold them to 3 field goals in the first half and then give up 3 touchdowns in the second half? Not convinced.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was disappointing. What they did in the third quarter was allow Missouri State, allow Delaware to get back into the game. And that was disappointing, especially when Dickens had that 70-plus yard touchdown run, second play of the second half. Like it was 35-9. You feel like the game should be over at that point in time, and unfortunately we let them score 2 straight touchdowns, and they were back into it. So a little disappointed in the defense there. Coach Towell called him out post game, and so we got to be better. So don't like giving up 30 points in a game. It's better when you can hold them under 30. But at the same time, when your offense is scoring and on chunk plays too, they're going to be out there for more plays and more possessions than typical.
Yeah, most definitely. Two more that I see. Nate King said in a previous episode, and shout out to him for this stat as well. He said in a previous episode, someone asked if Vasco is the worst quarterback in Conference USA. Here's some good data to answer that question. He linked us a tweet. So I have that one pulled up. And it's one of the grading systems. There's too many out there. It's not PFF. It's one of the other ones. It has the Conference USA quarterback grades. The Delaware quarterback is number 1. And then Maverick MacGyver, Western Kentucky, number 2. And then Ethan Vasco is number 3 in Conference USA. So shout out to Nate for that stat.
Yeah, I think Vasco has been solid. I don't think he's, we've said this before, I don't think he's going to blow anybody away with his ability. Mm-hmm. The biggest key for him is the turnovers. If he can limit or even eliminate the turnovers, we have a good enough team to win, most of the rest, if not all the games left on our schedule. If he can just, keep the turnovers down.
Positivity. We love that.
Last one to round it up from Dan Moyer, I think is how you say it. How does this performance change bowl projections and the rest of the season?
Great question. Sean, I'm sure you have an article about it on A Sea of Red.
Yeah,
Best
no,
website for Liberty Athletics.
I was actually looking at that earlier today is, do the bowl projections every week. And the last few weeks, very few, if anybody, was picking us to make a bowl game. This week, everybody's picking us to make a bowl game. So it changes a lot during the season. But and I said this earlier tonight is this week is a must for bowl projection. Like if you win this week, I feel like you'll get one. I hate to even say this, but I feel like you can get one of the last three. But I do feel like that's the case. Whereas if you lose, it's going to, again, be an uphill battle to get to 6. But you would think, with these last 4, you got, Missouri State at home, then you're at FIU, at Louisiana Tech, and then you got Kennesaw at home. I feel like Missouri State should be the most winnable of the 4. Then I think FIU would be a really close one to that. I think Missouri State's a better team than FIU, but you never know, home, away type thing. It can be difficult, but I would feel confident at FIU, and then those last 2 will be difficult. Like Louisiana Tech is a good team. They struggled a little bit in the middle part of the season, and then obviously Kennesaw is good as well too. But those 2 will be tough, right? It's hard to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to win those 2, but these next 2 are the ones. You get the bowl, you get the 6 wins, win these next 2, get that under your belt, and then you can really focus on making that last push for the conference championship. Game.
We talked about, I feel like, just conference championship and stuff a decent amount already. But the one thing I will say is just you were talking that I thought about is there's obviously a lot of football in the next 24 days or so. But in theory, that game against Kennesaw could be a de facto play-in game for the conference championship. So there's a lot to happen between now and then for both teams to make that happen. But that is something that we have to maybe look forward to.
And that last day, not only is it Liberty and Kennesaw State, Western Kentucky and Jack State play that game that day too.
I didn't realize that was the day of the game. Do they have times for those yet?
Put those at the same time as well.
I'm not sure. I think they can adjust. I think ours is scheduled for 3:30, but I may be wrong. So that's a Saturday after Thanksgiving, and again, students will be out of town. So hopefully everybody else shows up for the crowd. But yeah, that should be a huge. It's setting up to be a huge final day. How could conference, like when I first saw the schedule, I was like, why do we have Kennesaw State the last game of the season? Like we should be playing Western Kentucky. But they knew all along. They knew all along.
Judy's got the script. But yeah, always appreciative of everyone that jumps in the comments, both positive and negative. It's better positive, but we get a lot more when they're negative. So you take the good and the bad. But John mentioned earlier, basketball season is upon us. We're in that great 2-month window of college basketball and college football taking place at the same time. Liberty kicked off the season last night against Kentucky Christian.
Yes.
I didn't watch a minute of it. I was at the gym. I'm sure we won. It was great. Best case scenario, right?
Yeah, that's a good comment here. Best case scenario, we can get to 8-4 if we went out, win the conference championship game, and then potentially a Cure Bowl, which they have been trying in recent years to get the Conference USA or 2 conference champions into the Cure Bowl. We saw that last year. It was Jack State and Ohio, I believe, in a good game. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a path. I mean, we could win 10 games. I hate to say that out loud, but we could. Like, we could.
And it starts with Missouri State.
It starts with
Yeah. Must win. Exactly. It's not a can't lose. It's a must win. But as always, we're appreciative of everyone tuning in. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. It helps us out a bunch. I say it every week, but that's the place to go for midweek press conferences, not just for football, for all coaches, post-game press conferences, latest news, updates, injuries, all that good stuff. John does such a great job. And now that we are getting into the craziness of football season, final month of the regular season, basketball season kicking off, all those fall Olympic sports, They tell me the girls' soccer team is pretty good.
Yeah, they'll be playing for a conference championship on campus. I think it's Friday. They won today in the semifinals or in the conference championship game. Third straight Conference USA championship game appearance.
Didn't they get screwed last year?
I don't remember. Don't ask me details about women's soccer on the podcast, Rich. I don't know. I have to go look it up. Shout out to Alexis Sherrard and the women's basketball team. Open up the season night with a nice win at home over Frostburg State. Hopefully they'll have another great season there. So shout out to Coach Sherrard and the Lady Flames. They won tonight.
And field hockey, outright Big East Conference champs.
Yeah, field hockey, number 7 in the country. They only have 2 losses all season, and they're to top 5 teams by like 1 and 2 goals. I think it was North Carolina and UVA.
And I think UNC is the defending champs. I could be wrong, but I think they won the Natty last year, I think.
You may be correct. Again, I don't know all the details about field hockey either. But I do think that, Liberty, hopefully they can win. Liberty hosts the Big East Field Hockey Championships. I think that's next weekend. So that's pretty cool that we get to host both of these tournaments. And, hopefully we'll win them both. And field hockey may even get an at-large if they need it. Hopefully they don't need it, but to the NCAA tournament. And they made it to the Natty, remember, just a few years ago and lost. I think they're close to being as good as they were that season. So maybe this year we'll get a Natty. We'll see.
We'll see. A lot of we'll see, but a lot of good we'll see. So always excited to talk with these two and with all of you about Liberty football. And again, make sure you get in there, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're checking us out live or in the upcoming days. And on behalf of
congrats, Richie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be pulling for you, praying for you next week. Be sure to keep us in the loop of how things go. And hopefully we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes, I'll try to make an appearance next Tuesday for sure. So
with baby in hand.
Oh yeah, that'll go over great. On behalf of the three of us, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. I might see you next Tuesday, but those two will definitely see you next Tuesday. And maybe most importantly, go Flames.